When you're fighting those plague boys, what you need is DAKKA, and Slades has an appropriate amount of DAKKA to deal, hopefully, with the ultimate big boy himself, Kugath, on the opposite side of the field. Slade here, yeah, he's got all of the archers, Orc Arrow Boys, Night Goblin Archers here in a mix. Of course, Rusty Arrow is going to be one of those Night Goblin Archers. Also got Rugwood's Armored Orcs mixed in here as well. Goblin Bolt Throwers, including Snagla's Death Thrower. Yep, Regiment Renowned Bolt Thrower there. Night Goblin War Boss, and a Ragnarok Queen also for some anti-large, and some Spiderling Summons, along with an Orc Shaman for magic. Battle forces of Nurgle across the field from them are headed by Kugath. Yes, Kugath the Plague Father, the big boy himself with his artillery attack. He's got a front line, kind of a little defensive formation here. Some Exalted Plague Bears, including the Festering Stooges, some Nurglings in the back, Chaos Furies in the sky. Furies, of course, very good right now. And, of course, the Angels of Decay. Yeah, Regiment Renowned Death's Heads Plague Drones. Very good damage on a limited amount of ammunition. Flying Skirmish, and then also pretty good stats in melee as well for a follow-up flying attack. Let's see how they do, if they can do much. It should be said that typically, a build like this for Nurgle with Kugath kind of throwing artillery shots with the Furies flying out as mobility, potentially zooming in, taking out enemy artillery units or ranged units in general. Potentially pretty potent, but we're going to fast forward a little bit through this early skirmish as Slade moves his bolt throwers up to get in range of Kugath. We're going to begin trying to lance that boil. The Rusty Arrows and the Night Goblin Archers, all the Air Boys. There's such a big saturation of them. Plenty of targets to throw at, but it looks like Kugath targeting Rugwood's Armored Orcs for the time being, which is definitely a pretty good call. Armor won't matter too much. I actually forget how much of his... Yeah, it has definitely a pretty good component that's still non-armor piercing, so the armor will help a little bit there. You see the Furies swinging up through the forest. Ooh, a Fermented Fungi going to be popped by the War Boss on one. That draws it into the Spiderlings here. Another one does drop on the Bolt Thrower, takes it out in pretty short order. But one benefit of Orcs is their solid combat stats. Orc Arrow Boys can defend themselves a lot better than other archer units in the game. Even though their melee defense leadership relatively low, they're definitely taking some damage in this engagement. They're also punching back reasonably well against the Furies. It's not a great trade, but again, better than many other archer units, and certainly Slade turning and firing with his other bows there, pushing those Furies back. And the Fermented Fungi play as well with the Spiderlings. Just textbook. Draw your opponent into an unfavorable position. That being said, yeah, it does look like the Nurgle forces are actually advancing right now. Kugath taking some damage. The one Bolt Thrower probably actually doesn't have enough DPS to take him down before he can use up all of his ammunition, but both players just kind of mutually agreeing that the skirmish phase is over. They're going to now fight in the field here. It is Conquest, technically, so both getting up in time to contest the objective. Death's Head's going to be thrown. A little precursor here. These are Fanatics. I'd expect we'll see some Fanatics get unleashed either shortly before or shortly after these guys engage. Maybe. Maybe not yet. You can see the Bolt Throwers throwing. There's the Fanatics. A little bit of friendly fire when they're first unleashed, but if you're in against the defensive kind of box formation like this, you can definitely get pretty good value hitting multiple units there on those Fanatics. Hitting, yeah, the doing some damage to the Plague Bearers, and then a little bit of damage to the Nurglings. Again, it's not insane, but just a little bit of extra, basically range damage. It helps, certainly in a situation like this, where these Goblins are going to have to hold back a tide as the bows get in range and try and deal with Kugath. You can see here the Orc Shaman also coming forward to fight. He's got that Headbutt there, Brain Bursta, so just looking for AoE damage. Although he did miscast himself pretty badly there. Got to be careful. Not too much HP on that Footcaster, but currently active. Doesn't actually benefit missile units. But everything that is fighting in melee currently will be juiced up. More Fanatics being unleashed. Slade definitely having Had a lot of practice, knows the cooldowns well. Keep them rolling as much as possible, try and get as much value before these Night Goblins rout. Which it's surprising that this unit in particular is managing to hold their leadership and actually kind of winning combat against these Exalted Plague Bears with the range support. So pretty good stuff so far. Ragnarok Queen moving through, more Spiderling summons, plenty of HP on the Queen left as well, whereas you can see Kugath, although he's healthy technically, does have major damage to his healing cap, which means he can soon no longer heal himself. Let's see. Night Goblin Archers a little bit close here. They're having some line of sight issues. Nurgling is going to roll into them. Oof. That one orc in particular just has a very bad time as he gets exploded by Kugath's artillery attack. But yeah, slow as Kugath is, even slower when he's poisoned, and definitely cannot catch a lot of these units. Ruglad's armored orcs, even at 31 speed. Pretty impressive stuff, honestly. Yeah, even yet more fanatics from those Night Goblins. And the bows and the wah. Everything contributing well. Kugath heals himself. With Fleshy Abundance, that should basically bring him up to his healing cap. Yeah, it even overheals him a little bit. Yeah, with the Fecundity, which is going to pass on, granted, but definitely did not need to use both. Could probably have used the Fecundity maybe over here on the Festering Stooges, who also have passive healing. Plenty of healing cap space left. But at this point, we see a nasty little bait there. The Night Goblin War Boss ran in, used the fungi, although I think technically not even enraged now. Still just has an attack order on the Night Goblin War Boss. Leads Kugath rather, straight to the Queen. And then the Queen's anti-large can try and hold him and finish him in melee here. Not to mention a handful of archers that do remain. Despite Nurgle's best attacks here. There is not many, but granted, you know, one unit of air boys, the armored orcs. Yeah, Nurgle definitely had a lot of tools, just everything kind of jumping in and going after these ranged units, but ultimately they have done enough damage that, like I said, the Queen can probably finish things off here. A little brain burst to try and speed the passing of these Plague Bears, exalted level. Does look like they're getting pretty tattered. The Queen there having a little bit of targeting issues, but now it looks like has the appropriate attack order to try and finish off Kugath here. He's down to about 4,700 HP. And swing and a miss there for the Spider. But it does look like the Air Boys are kind of starting to secure a lot of the Nurglings and other units that had been in pursuit, starting to run out of leadership. Angels of Decay, as strong as they are, can only be in one place at a time. And thus, yeah, you can see other archers and other units rallying, shooting back, forming different layers. Spiderlings coming to protect their mother, or at least bog down the support infantry there. One last fermented fungus. Perhaps Kugath in the Spiderlings, and that's going to be the game. So, yeah, nice one from Slade, for sure. Sort of a... This reminds me of, like, early patch Nurgle. Like, even prior to, like, Mortal Empire's Nurgle build, to be honest. But, yeah, definitely a fun one for sure. Slade here, nice combined arms. I'd imagine we'll see pretty good value across a lot of these units. Yeah, basically everything kind of pays for itself, with a couple of exceptions, but a lot of units, yeah, the Queen didn't get good raw value, but Spiderling Summon's tactical value is very good for sure. And maybe the Bolt Throwers, they actually do both pay for themselves, surprisingly. Ruglad's also just such a good unit in this matchup, and in a lot of matchups, to be honest. The Orc Air Boys basically being crossbows as well, gives them great damage overall. And yeah, just a nice combined win for Anarian here. Yeah, I mean, Nurgle is definitely a play style that they can do reasonably well. Unfortunately, a lot of the support units just didn't really do what they needed to. I almost wonder, like, I don't totally hate the pick of the Exalted Plague Bearers, but I almost wonder if just going for, like, Chosen Great Weapons maybe would be better here. Hard to say. You guys will have to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.